lie if you show me your okay.
According to all of our charts and graphs, fun should be beginning now.
So many charts and graphs. I'll unload my briefcase.
We're like mariners. Just consulting the charts, licking our fingers for wind.
Sea. I think I see land. Hi-yo.
We do see land, Maggie. We do see land.
We do see land.
Because we're on the other side of an election now.
My God.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the other day, kind of when I first started working at Cracked was when Trump got elected.
Yes.
And I remember the day we worked together afterwards.
Yep. Really bad day.
Really bad day.
Yeah.
And we were all just like in shock and hugging each other. And
I remember Carmen's great and she's a friend and she was like in tears and like I hugged her for a good like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, this is awful. Like anybody, please, you know. I remember that.
And it's wild to have that like crystal clear memory of that. And also, you know, it's been 4 years, so like not only does like Crack no longer exist,
right,
but also like we were not unfounded by any of the feelings that we had that day.
No, I remember Adam Todd Brown, man. We used to come out and have cigarettes, and it was like 2015 when he was like, Trump's gonna win, and I was like, dude, I love how crazy you are. I love it. I love your crazy thing. You're totally wrong, and it's been just one long nightmare parade since that very day. Yeah. Now, you have to admit, Maggie, we're sort of in the calm. We're in sort of the eye of the storm here.
We're in the afterglow of just 2 days ago.
Yeah,
was
2 days
the
ago
final,
it was called.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a chance that by the time the listener hears this, we're in the United Trumps of Ameritrump.
Or we split in half. So who knows? Yeah.
Some people could be playing When Johnny Comes Marching Home Again right now.
Yeah, bringing out their drums and whatnot. And also I watched the John Oliver episode last night.
Of course.
And I think he, was like, there are 70 million people who voted for Trump who now might think that the election is not, there are so many, obviously, things to worry about. But in the interim, we can all breathe a little easier.
I will say this. I think if you're a Trump voter, you've always been able to understand that Trump is hyperbolic.
Yes.
I think, not like Beer's barbecue freedom guy.
Right.
That guy's just a maniac.
Yeah.
Also, totally believe in the cause of his shirt. Like that.
At the core of it, it's like we have so much in common. Just as people and human beings on this earth.
You're just wrong about one thing, really. The rest of your thing, I'm on board with.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's going to argue with that.
Yeah, totally. But I think I might be wrong because it's been a while since I've engaged a person who was an advocate. Like probably 3 years. I gave up on that in like 2017.
Yeah.
I think they've always thought of Trump as being hyperbolic. So I think they still think of his election rhetoric as being mostly hyperbolic. Because if they didn't, I would think they would be doing things about it right now.
Right. I'm sure there are different pockets of degrees. Like, there are the sycophants, but also there are people who are rich who only vote for Trump because of tax. Like all they look at is like taxes. That's it, and they cast their vote. Like that is.
I think that's a lot of Trump voters.
That is a lot of Trump voters.
Yeah. They don't want to admit to that because they don't want to admit I just care about keeping my money.
Right, but
that sounds terrible.
But it's the only thing that they.
But it's real.
Yeah,
that's the real deal. I mean, it is fun to hypothesize what Trump voters are. But,
it is.
I'm not down to mock them today because that doesn't really make me feel good. I'm sure it makes some people feel good. Not me. I just want this to be over. The fighting to be over. Not the causes. The causes need to continue. But the rancor of it.
Oh yeah.
And I know that many of our audience is probably on the Bernie side or
probably, yeah.
Which totally get it. I still liked Biden's speech a lot.
Oh,
I liked it a lot.
I liked his speech. There were multiple moments when he would call out specific groups of people who absolutely gave him the vote, and it's like, okay, you said it. You said it during your speech.
He did say that.
Yeah, and it was like, there are, obviously we don't know where they're not,
Who knows how it's going to all play out?
Who knows how it's going to play out?
I like what he's saying.
Right, I like what he's saying, and I do think that of a lot of people who could be picked, those are two candidates who are like, I think or at least I think you might be surrounded by people who know who gave you this win and know what communities you owe.
I mean, I kind of believe the one thing I believe about Biden, and maybe more than any politician since Obama, I believe in the narrative that he is motivated by empathy because of his personal losses.
Right.
I believe that. That seems very real to me in just everything about him.
Right.
I think that's a really powerful thing right now.
Right. The other thing is okay, I believe that he loves his son. Therefore,
oh my God, right?
Yes, people whose families have, are impacted by all of these social issues. It's going to be, you can't reason with someone that doesn't care about anything or anyone. Like that is just a non-starter. So the fact that he cares about things and people, although it sounds bare minimum, like that is someone that you can talk to,
Yeah, he has a ground zero that most people can deal with, negotiate with.
Yes.
That to me is a huge improvement from where we've been for 5 years. Because I was thinking today as you're coming over, I'm like, I don't know if Maggie and I have ever worked together in a time when Trump was not either the entire news story or president or both. Yeah, because some of the dudes got together on election, like the night the election was called, and it just turned into this man, remember how we used to be at Crack before Trump? It turned into this like a good hour of we used to make stuff like this, and we used to have conversations that were like this, and it's not like it was perfect,
right,
but it was just a totally different world, and we're gonna have some of that back, I hope.
Yeah, and
maybe
most of Trump's thing was manufacturing a reality, and we no longer have to work against someone manufacturing a reality that. Everyone in some way manufactures a reality, especially when they're president, but not to that degree and not in that way.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Not in such a collectively unpleasant way.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't talked to my parents since this happened. I'm curious what they're going to say. But I don't think anybody's happy. Who's happy? Who's been happy this last 4 years?
Only people
We've all been unhappy.
Right. People who get joy out of other people's pain are happy, but that's not
real joy.
Yes, yeah.
That's exactly. Just I'm just mad, but at least someone else suffers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I really like every goblin ends up being Bilbo grabbing that ring in the Lord of the Rings. That's my favorite thing.
Great movie moment.
I'd very much like to see it one last time. God, I love him. So we're great. So you're doing great.
Just
feeling great, right?
Feeling markedly better.
Yeah. I'm sure if there's anybody in our audience who is a Trump voter and still listening to this podcast or has ever listened, thank you so much for your patronage. It's really nice that you're here. I'm sorry you're sad. That doesn't make me happy to think you're sad, but it's nice for us.
Go ahead and say if you want to talk, we can talk. Your sadness, I don't care too much about. I will say
Maggie's willing to divorce half the audience right now.
I doubt we have that many.
There's 7 guys who are so angry at you, Maggie.
Oh, man.
Their hearts are broken right now.
Stay angry, my friends. Stay very angry. I will send you some reading recommendations.
Okay.
And
Great. I love smug is the tone I was hoping to achieve before we started our check-in. So how you been? What's been going on with you this week?
Oh, I mean, just I think everyone's kind of been in a somewhat of a trance since since the election started being called.
Doom scrolling? How many hours did you spend doom scrolling?
Well, I tempered my doom scrolling with watching The Queen's Gambit, so I felt like
You love it so much.
I do.
You texted me about it already.
I did. I wanted to know if you'd seen it. It's just I love the pacing of the show, and I feel like that type of pacing for TV nowadays is just like much rarer to come by, and it's the type of pacing that I enjoy.
Yeah, sounds great.
It's great.
Is it like chilled out? Is it like really slowed down?
It's chilled out, but I feel like sometimes, especially with like this show, I think takes its time with character, takes its time with everything. Whereas I think a lot of other shows, feel the need to like rubberneck you around, pulling you around to
create artificial suspense.
Whereas the conceit of the show is already interesting, and it knows that, and it's confident in what the show is already about. So I feel like it
sounds cool.
Doesn't need to overcompensate.
Did you ever see The Wire?
Yes, and I feel like similar style.
That's because you just described tone-wise everything I love about The Wire, and that's why I didn't like the 5th season, because the 5th season was like, what if we like ratchet it up a notch? It was like, no, don't keep it at the same notch, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been watching comedy, you've been half doom scrolling.
I mean, I was doom scrolling, but I was always fairly optimistic. Even with the early numbers coming in, I was like, we know that this is the in-person voting.
Because you were an educated voter,
right?
Yeah.
And it's always nerve-wracking because I didn't allow myself to think very much about what a next 4 years of Trump would be.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't.
I didn't either. I was not willing to open up to that.
Same.
This time.
Same.
And normally, I'm normally like a confront the worst kind of person. I think. This time I was not willing to do that.
Yeah. It was just too dark, and just like. And I'm a very empathetic person, so it's hard for me, and it's been hard for me for the past 4 years to, be a slightly public figure, being online in any capacity, because the moment someone like expresses like pain or something, like I can't help but not take it on in a way, but like I can't help but
it impacts you.
It impacts me very severely, and so even just Biden being nominated, I can feel that like lessening. Like there's less pain for me to, sit with every day. In a way, and in another way, not. But in like a general zeitgeisty, like, oh great, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? That's the thing that's gonna happen, and this many people are gonna be affected by it.
Yeah, I mean, my siblings and I were like exchanging texts about here's all the things that are now instantly different now that Trump is not in charge. Most of them were jokes. But it was just, it was just like, oh yeah, some of this stuff's like, yeah. Like nobody's gonna be allowed to wear red hats anymore.
Yeah.
Great. F the Cardinals fans. I'm not, like, sorry, bros.
Yeah.
Red hats are gone. They're like a Hitler stash. You can't do it anymore. It's over.
Do it.
Just like little things like that, and also big things like when I hear the Star Spangled Banner, I don't feel shame instantly.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's our history.
Right.
Like, just like things get reclaimed emotionally.
Yeah.
That. Matter. I don't, It might be possible one day to bring my Trump impersonation back.
Oh, man. I don't know if I've ever.
You have, because did you see that short film that we did?
Oh, yeah.
I did the Trump on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Dang.
And there was a moment, I remember it was a moment right around the election when I was doing it in the office all the time, and everyone was like, this is great. And then one day, it just wasn't funny anymore.
It
was like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. You're doing right now.
I don't know about that.
Hey, just fucking stop. Fucking stop it.
That's way more confrontational than comedians really are. But they really just sort of like they look away and like kind of sad nod. Like
that's the bit.
I'm sorry, I'm taking over your segment. What else has been going on?
I was just about to turn it on you. How's your week?
Spotlight's over here. This week was very stressful, but I realized I crossed the threshold of amount of stuff I needed to read to not freak out.
Ooh,
I think
nice.
This time around you needed to do some pretty real reading to not freak out.
Yeah.
Because the day of the election, I got the same feeling that I got from 2016. You remember.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that kept happening. And of course, Florida. went for Trump, and it was like Florida.
Yeah.
I sent a shame text to Bridget. Told her, feel shame, Bridget. I did not. Yeah, but so I feel like this time you had to like really know, okay, how many votes are we really talking about? What is the math? Where are they from? You kind of needed to do that work if you're going to doom scroll. Otherwise, you were just terrified.
Right.
And I did that. And more. I was reading every New York Times article there was all week. So I don't know if I had a good time.
Right.
But I do know that they called for Biden on Saturday morning. And I had gone for a walk. It was cold finally.
Oh, I love cold.
Yeah, it was cold. Man, it's been so hot here.
It's been so hot.
It's been like standing in somebody's mouth.
Right.
Just what a terrible.
In somebody's mouth.
You know what
wet
I mean?
and hot. Yeah.
Yeah, wet and hot, and none of the good things associated with that.
No.
Not a single one.
Smelly.
Yeah. Trying to throw that one in there. Yeah, and then finally it was cold outside, and I was like wearing a sweater on a walk, and I was like, this is all right. This is good. And I got home, sat in that chair right there, and boom, news hit.
Oh man.
And there was a cheer that just sort of
percolated.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sort of rippled across the city, and it was great.
It's great.
It was truly great. It was like when I was talking to Cody about it later in the day, I was like, this was like that yub yub moment in Jedi, bro. This was our yub yub.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, yeah.
If you think I don't know all the words, you're wrong, and I'm not going to do it for you right now, Maggie. I'm sorry.
Amazing. That's
I love
all
you,
right.
but I can't
You can do it later.
Can't. After we stop recording, you're singing yub yub.
Yeah, get it up on here.
So that part's good. Still writing. I have a pitch meeting this week that might be cool. We'll see. Who knows? For TV, actually, which is surprising to me because I don't.
Fun.
TV is not an avenue I think of for myself enough. I think. So that's kind of fun.
That's fun.
So we'll see. Other than that, my plants are slowly dying, but I'm slowly getting free.
Those look great.
Those are the ones that are suffering the most.
Oh, really?
You haven't seen all the corpses that I took out.
Haven't.
Yeah.
But from far away, they look nice. That one I can tell.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay.
When Maggie says what she means is it's a pile of shit. Maggie's not denying it, by the way. This is a conspicuous
tea.
science.
This is some great. Adam made me a wonderful cup of tea, and it tastes
did.
like Christmas.
It does.
It does.
It's made by Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, which they do not sponsor this show, so we don't get anything for me saying that. Yeah, not yet. Their winter dream tea is like goodness injected into your body.
It's beautiful.
It's a hot shot of goodness.
A hot shot of goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Isn't it great?
It's
Cinnamony
great.
a little bit.
Cinnamony.
Great tea.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, Coffee Bean's got the real tea. Anyway, I think we've done enough before we can get into our subject, don't you think?
I feel great.
Yeah, I feel real good.
Yeah.
So today's episode is presented by one of our patrons again.
Whoa.
It's sort of like they're starting to do their job.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Thank goodness. We got a new administration in with all these patrons, and they're going to come up and do a good job.
I want to see where... Yeah, that one got away from you a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing here? I don't know.
that one got a little bit away from you. I kind of like that.
I heard the backing up noise of a truck in my brain halfway through that. So this isn't
God, I
gonna
love
land.
this. So I'm sorry. I'm looking quickly for the producer list.
I think
Because we have so
some new
many of them.
ones. Yeah.
So many now.
So many.
Here it is. Okay, so we added like 15 producers this month. I don't know if you noticed, but so we're going to take about half the list now, and maybe when we switch over to the other person's item, we'll do the other half. Sound good?
Sweet.
Okay, so thank you to our producers. And again, if you'd like to be a producer of this show, if you're enjoying this random cast of joy and words, you can sign up for it on the patreon.com small beans. And we are the producer tier. So the producer tier enables you to hear your name read as some of these people will. And also to suggest topics and to vote for what we end up doing for our next podcast. It's
quite a lot.
As these bosses did. So thank you to Liam Burkellium Burke.
Ooh. cool.
That's a scientist, right?
Absolutely, or
Yeah.
or a noble.
Oh, like, so he's a time traveler.
I mean,
in this
either or.
example,
In this example,
right? He's a time traveling noble.
there might.
So he's probably trying to get us feudal. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna
Maybe
say.
I don't like
he's-
this guy as
yeah,
much as I thought
yeah,
I
I
did.
think you're some nefarious. Until further notice, you're on notice. Until further notice, I think that
Thank
you're a
you.
time traveling noble who's coming back to bring back the feudal
Until further
system.
notice, you're on notice. All right. Thank you to Jake Emery, inventor of the fingernail file.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? He invented it.
Yeah. Along
So-
with his friend Board.
Yep. It's a joint venture.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like Parker Brothers, but for fingernails.
For fingernails.
Yeah. Melissa.
Aw,
Hey, thanks.
Hey.
Hey,
It's a
thanks,
great
Melissa.
name. Thanks, Melissa.
I like to think it's Melissa Etheridge. Right?
Oh, come to my window.
That's she's been coming to your window.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah. We're skipping Adam because that's actually me. I had
You became a producer
I
of our
had
own
to
show.
subscribe to see the feed in my phone, and I haven't fixed it yet.
That's
and
funny.
So thank you to me
Great.
for my
you.
$10.
You.
Christopher Williams.
Christopher Williams.
He seems great.
Yeah. I feel like we can now say probably not brother of, the Williams who is a famous.
Who is John?
Who is John. And again, until you prove me wrong, I think, we've learned enough.
I think he's a fencer at least.
At least.
Minimum fencer.
Minimum fencer.
Yeah, could be. I could see him owning a yacht.
Right. Or, maybe you do play the tuba. Like you play one instrument,
Oh.
but you might not be the
Who plays the
orchestrator.
tuba after high school band?
After no one.
So
It
that
ceases
instrument
to
gets
exist.
dropped immediately.
Yeah.
That's
No
the end.
one plays a tuba outside of 6th through 12th grade.
So so just bear in mind. So you're 30 years old, and you're like, something sad happened or whatever, and you're like, I'm just gonna play some jam for a little while.
There's no
Nobody's
tuba.
picking up that tuba.
It'll dematerialize in your fingers as soon as you pick it up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a thing I never thought about till today. Wow. Nathan Wells.
Nathan Wells.
Thank you, sir.
Hope you're
Known
doing
author.
well.
Yeah, author.
Oh,
You
author.
like that?
Oh,
Self-help books mostly.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Doing well.
I don't know what you're whispering to
I
Nathan
don't know
Wells,
either.
but that's just for you.
Don't tell it, listeners, but I got your joke.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Would you like to handle the next one?
Yes.
The next couple?
I pulled it up, but I should.
Oh, forgive me. I tried. I don't have it displayed for you.
That's all right. I remember Abe sending it to us.
Abe did send it to you. In the meantime, I'll thank one of our other producers, Jason Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
Light. Jason.
Sure.
Miller.
Inventor of beer. Yes, that Jason Miller. Yeah. I don't really. Jason Miller, unfortunately, didn't evoke an immediate image in my brain, other than maybe he's involved in farming somehow.
You could be. Yes.
Like a horticulturalist, maybe.
Yes.
I like that idea.
Or a serial killer, Jason. Firewalker is the next person who I think we can now assume is not a nug of weed who became our producer.
Well, I feel like we're always gonna assume that.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
This is cannabis's contribution.
Until further notice, I will picture you as a nug of weed wearing sunglasses, Firewalker.
The only way nugs of weed go round.
Right.
It's their only attire.
Yeah.
They don't wear anything else.
Smoking themselves.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah. Right. Obviously. Please continue.
Christopher Olsen, with a K.
Yeah, that's the thing we haven't thought about so far with this boss.
Right.
We keep talking about Olsen twins. What's up with that K,
What's
Christopher?
up with that K? Although, of the two ways to spell Christopher, I think I prefer the K way.
Okay, so but that means you want this guy to be like a Danish lord or something, right?
Yeah, or like a children's author.
Yeah. There's been a lot of peasantry and children's books so
I
far
know.
today.
We're trying to create a narrative that does not exist, but
Clearly not. Richard R. Kaminsky. I think my favorite thing about this person, who also, by the way, has submitted several emails. Very kind.
Oh,
yes, very
great.
kind.
Well, thank you.
One of them was, why couldn't you guys do something about video games or books? Which was a great question. We can.
Yes.
The issue is it just takes up a heck of a lot more time. So
It
it's one of those
does.
things where if we ever greenlit an idea that was like video games or books, it would
we'd
be
have
like,
to do-
hey, we'll do it in a few months.
Right.
You'll get something else for this month.
Right.
Because it would take that long to do it. But we're
we
not saying
could.
no. We
Yeah.
have talked about it before.
I think when we originally came up with the idea, books was one of the main things, but us saying that.
But then
okay,
we're
that
like,
would
when the
be-
fuck are you going to read that book, bro?
Right,
And
right,
you're like, I haven't read a book since college. It's like a tuba. Books
Absolutely.
disappear after college.
Disappear. Poof.
And like that, gone.
It's gone.
Okay.
Nicholas Fabian.
Yeah.
Fabian.
Oh, you went Fabian this time.
Oh, I was like, that's closer to Fabio, although I think it's probably Fabian.
Apparently, I believe this was the gentleman who we said wore a cape.
Oh, yeah.
Not retracting that.
No. And I think maybe also not a full mask, but like one of those Phantom of the Opera masks. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. To say.
If you wear a cane out, do you also, sorry, not a cane. If you wear a cape out,
Right.
do you have to have a cane?
Yes.
You can't have cape, no cane, right?
Well, if you're a cape, then you're swinging superhero.
That's insane. Nobody's doing that.
That's insane. Well,
Nobody's
see, and that's
doing
why you got to add the cane so people know. No, you just mean business. You're not a silly prancy
Mean
boy.
business. What's that mean? When you get a couple of like young thug types, you're gonna administer justice,
or like you're a vampire. You're gonna like sink some teeth into some
obviously
necks.
vampires. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Just brief note on superheroes, on real life superheroes.
Yeah.
There are people that do this. A friend of mine was shooting a documentary about it in film school. Mostly what they do is like go out and like hand out water to like innocent civilians and stuff.
Oh, in capes.
It is very
That's cute.
Yeah, I know. I think you kind of like it. It's also like you're insane.
Yeah. Also, none of that theatrics.
Congratulations.
Is needed.
That's not climbing walls. That's handing out water.
Yeah.
Better than nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, Adam Duncan, a regular contributor to our email thread.
Aw.
Thank you, Adam Duncan.
Thanks, Adam Duncan. After that is Patrick.
Seems like his name to me is to be screamed, right?
Patrick.
Yeah, like his mom's disapproving of him.
Yeah. Patrick.
Okay.
Patrick.
Ooh.
Sorry, Patrick. That it sounds anything like your mom. I'm terribly
Man, when you're
sorry.
40, you're gonna have kids by 40, right?
Yeah,
Almost certainly.
Probably, yeah.
I need an occasional check-in where I'm watching how you're parenting the kids.
Oh,
I need to see how that's happening.
I've been a nanny for most of my life.
Yeah.
My first job was nannying for a boy, so I've been around children my whole life, and I know what makes them work.
And I can control them.
Yeah, and
I can make them do my will.
yeah.
Okay, well we're gonna check in with the rest of our producers when we switch sides on our discussion today. But the topic that our patrons so lovingly picked for us is they picked movies that get better on rewatching.
Better on rewatching. Yeah.
Now this is a much more analytical topic than we normally tackle.
It is.
So I'm gonna push to try to make it about emotions if I can.
I think,
because that's more fun to me than like talking about what the movie is.
Right.
Personally, and for our patrons, that's how I will always approach these kind of topics.
Right.
So, do you mind if I go first? Because normally I don't. Okay, great.
Let's do it.
So I selected P.T. Anderson's The Master.
The
Master. Briefly, this is a Scientology like movie
that
follows a very severe alcoholic who sort of joins the movement and then like hangs out with them and we sort of see how the movement works and then ultimately leaves because he doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
Yeah.
That's really what the movie is.
That's really it. Yeah.
And if you're hearing me sound like that doesn't sound like much of a movie, I agree with you. It doesn't sound like much of a movie.
Right.
That was what I felt when I watched it the first time.
Interesting.
In fact. Yeah, I didn't think it was bad.
Right.
But I definitely was like, this is a lot of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Right.
Which I do think P.T. Anderson does sometimes.
Absolutely. There are a lot of movies of his that I love, and a lot of them are just like, oh, can't. Why?
I thought that Pynchon adaptation was real bad.
Which one? What about?
It wasn't
I don't
Gravity's
think I've
Rainbow.
ever
It
seen
was he did an adaptation of a Pynchon movie. The name of it escaped my brain just now. We'll look it up later.
No worries.
It was the one before Phantom Thread that he did.
Okay.
And it was just not good.
Yeah.
I didn't think.
Yeah.
I would say he sort of pivoted as a filmmaker to a new tone and style with There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
That was a pivot, and that was a great pivot.
Great pivot. Love There Will Be Blood.
And The Master is it's like sort of more of that. And I would argue he's just kind of kept on that trajectory as a filmmaker since then.
Yeah.
And they've all gotten more obtuse.
Yeah.
I think The Master now is his best movie Since
Of his-
There Will Be Blood.
right.
Since There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood is maybe my favorite of his movies. But since then, The Master is the best, and I think they've kind of declined since then.
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie? Because you watched it before, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I had seen it before, and I liked it before. For me, I kind of felt similarly,
Yeah.
although, like, I guess when I was watching it, you know, I love Joaquin Phoenix, and I think specifically in this role, fucking blows it out of the water.
This is I think, his best acting by a wide berth.
Wide berth.
Like, and I include Gladiator. He was incredible in Gladiator, and I would include Joker, which I also thought he was good in that.
Yes, yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Just the scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman is first asking him questions, you know, like,
Yeah.
and just the character that Joaquin plays is simultaneously so, like, grounded, because he's just like a guy in a way.
He's just a guy.
He's
Exactly.
just a guy, and that is actually, as an actor, like, that is harder to achieve than a lot of people who don't act like think it is. But just the way that he crafted this full character.
That's really what it is. It's like, it's not just that he has weird eccentricities. It's that, like, this is a very distinct and complete person.
Yeah.
Who, like, I mean, he's not just the quirks, and he's not even just his flaws. He's also just like a whole thing. Like, he's not that smart, but he is kind of like he is kind of like, there's a vicious intelligence to him, like a street intelligence, if you will.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of that, and he kind of does see through bullshit, but he's also kind of a dope.
Yeah.
And like, I'm really just sort of admiring the things I abstract from who he is, but I feel like you could spend a good 30 minutes just describing who this person is.
Yeah.
And it would never fully encapsulate what he did.
Right.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
Right?
And the way that he is kind of, in a way, just playing a guy, that's kind of the reason he ends up not fitting in with with the environment, because he,
Now, see, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, we have the same impression, and part of why the movie improves is because you don't have any expectations anymore, right?
Yes, yeah.
So there's that. That's not the only reason it improves. I think the biggest reason is once you let go of your expectations, like, and really when I say expectations, I mean once you let go of this is how movies work.
Yeah.
That's really what you have to do for this movie. I expect the movie to have scenes that are tight, and and this movie doesn't have that. This movie's like, no, you're gonna sit around and kind of coast in some of these scenes, and they won't always seem to have a point.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's like a more effective undermining of a charlatan, I think. Most movies about charlatans and like just fakes are like thrillers on some level.
Yeah, it's like the filmmaker feels the need to be like, he's a charlatan, and here, I'll show you how. Don't worry, I'll show you how.
And you're constantly examining the person in this like very cinematic way that's like, oh, there's some untruth, but he's still good. Oh no, he's just a liar. And then slowly he descends into, fucking Al Pacino and Devil's Advocate, right?
Right.
Like,
You're like, oh, I think he might be a charlatan.
right,
at
exactly.
This point.
You know what I mean? Like, he slowly descends. He's a sadist. That's not what this movie doesn't do. That it has those beats, but really everything that's wrong with the Scientologist figure, whose name I totally blanked on, is there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like the seeds of it are there the whole time. His sort of the fact that he has no, like, his judgment is bad is there the whole time. Like this Joaquin Phoenix in some way is almost like a stain for their organization and exposes their organization, if you will. They should never have had him in it.
Right.
This guy can't be in a fake religion.
Yeah.
Because he's too, you can't fix him. He's too broken. You can't fix him.
Yeah.
Which is sort of what the movie is.
I know, it's It's really fascinating. Oh man! And to speak specifically about what you just brought up, there again, it's a very brief moment. But again, on the rewatch, those are the fun things to look for. It is one of the earlier scenes where I think Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's after the wedding where the camera's kind of on walking, but again, like nothing important is happening. But you see in the background that Philip Seymour Hoffman can't shut the fuck up, and people are expecting him to stop talking.
Exactly.
But he won't, and so you see people kind of in the back being like, being like, oh, we need to give him attention again, and people are kind of confused, which is great because that's how it feels to be around someone like that who doesn't know when to stop, doesn't know.
It still feels cinematic in the sense that movies never feel like reality.
Right.
Like that's a thing. Like movies don't feel like reality, and there's a reason for that because we don't want reality. We want a distilled version of life that teaches us and entertains us. That's what we want. And P.T. Anderson manages to kind of peel a big layer of how movies feel off of this movie. And not in like a documentary way.
Right.
But just in like a, no, you're going to have those things that you edit out of scenes, like people kind of standing around not talking, or like, the tension of like, he's not going to stop talking.
Right.
Or like just like all the mundane stuff is where you feel the falseness of this guy. And that's very insightful, like I feel like P.T. Anderson is like Kubrick in the sense that he demands that you turn your brain on more than you turn your feelings on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And those often go hand in hand, especially, when you're watching someone on screen, you're identifying with them. So, part of you, I think, will be like emotionally affected by those things. But yes, like, I think for him, I think he probably does. Yeah. Like, I guess I don't know he likes peeling off the veneer because he wants you to feel, and again, especially for this particular project, it helps you feel like you are also stuck on that ship in a way.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because it again feels less like a movie, more like you're stuck on a ship with like an L. Ron Hubbard type person.
Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating. Like when you sit here and think about it, boiling down what this movie's about, like it's really about a guy who is so difficult to manage that a cult won't keep him around.
Yeah,
that's a good log line.
Yeah,
it's not the log line for what this movie feels like.
Right. And it's probably not the log line that he told people, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's
either.
when he is thinking like, okay, but how actually am I going to execute this?
So. I think the thing that I think is most impactful about this movie is I don't actually think the Scientology critique is that meaningful. I think it's fine.
Yeah. It's also L. Ron Hubbard was also he was not an alcoholic. He was completely sober, which is very different.
Right. He's a straight edge.
Yeah.
But the drinking for Joaquin Phoenix's character's drinking is I think one of the most difficult things to watch that I've ever seen in a movie. Like, not like, I mean, certainly there's like torture scenes and stuff.
Right.
But like, this guy is mixing gas.
Yeah.
Like gasoline with his liquor. This guy's drinking like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
Stuff that's like, oh no, don't do that.
Straight up poison.
Don't do that. I have a friend who's in late stage alcoholism right now, which is a bummer. And even this person would not do what this guy's doing. And it's interesting how mean and capable this guy still is. Like he's just riveting, I think. I think he's completely riveting. He's also, to me, a great vision of like what happens when you don't find people who care about you.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what's really, that's the terrifying thing about him, I think, is like this guy's just been released by the world.
Right. Yeah.
This is all he has. That's what we're all scared of, right?
Yeah.
Like that's who he is. Like so he can drink his gasoline and fucking beer.
Right, because who's caring about who's And
that's pretty fucking dark, man. And I just think like it's one of those experiences where if you want to have like a really profound vision into human nature. This movie has that, but it's not accessible because you show up with a movie grid.
Right.
You know, and you have to turn it off. And I don't think everything he's done since has been as robust as this movie is. Also, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
His fucking mustache deserves an Academy Award.
Oh, man. I just love watching him work.
Have you ever seen Before the Devil Knows You're Dead?
Yeah.
That movie.
Yes.
Ooh, that's another one. That movie was an A+ the first time I watched it, though. Yeah.
It's great. Well, and again, not to keep talking about Queen's Gambit, but in a very similar manner, I feel like they as well, and in a TV format, strip away some of the
Interesting.
conventional, things that are almost like, all right, it's a TV show. They really they make an effort to strip that away, and also it does deal very heavily with like addiction and alcoholism.
It takes such guts to rip a movie down to this pace. Like it
Yeah.
takes serious guts. Like because everything about making movies trains you to do the opposite thing. You know what I mean? And like, there's such a thing as being indulgent, obviously.
Right.
Like when we went and watched that Tarantino flick, we both had that feeling.
We were like, oh, okay, yeah.
Like, enough, bro. This doesn't feel like that to me, though.
No. I don't need, and for me, I mean, I'm a person that doesn't like rules. So like, as you know,
Right.
every time I learn a film rule, I'm like, but like,
But
let's break it. How about
here's your thirds.
Right. And here's 10 reasons in my brain when it would be advantageous to not do that.
100%.
But
you and every filmmaker, by the way.
Exactly.
Every filmmaker's like
Everyone's
this.
like, but it is fun to see someone do that, and not in a detrimental way, because so many other directors will think they're doing that and then present something that's just like, no, this completely falls apart.
I mean, there's only really like 10 or 15 people at a time in the business who get to make something that's just singularly what they want to make.
Yeah, that's very true.
And he's one of them. This is that. And like, and there's David Lynch, and then there's, and there's some big name filmmakers who will get to make their indie film that is what they want to make.
Right.
But like P.T. Anderson basically gets to make kind of whatever he wants. And he has for, I would say, basically since Magnolia. Like Magnolia is the beginning of whatever you want to make, man, you get to make it. So I think that's what it takes to make a movie that is like pacing is everything about pacing is different. Everything you've learned about movie pacing, fuck all of that.
Yeah.
Like he has like a 1.5 mile dolly shot in this movie.
Whoa.
They laid dolly down for that motorcycle.
Oh my God.
So the audience here, it's like just to educate everybody. So a dolly is like a cart, right, that you put on rails, sort of like a tiny little railroad cart that you put a camera on, and anytime you do these like smooth moves, they're on a dolly, right? Unless it's like a crane shot where it's kind of swooping in or whatever. So that's like a basic filmmaking tool. It's a thing you learn immediately in film school.
You can make them homemade with skateboard.
And many people do, right? Yep. So in this movie, there's a motorcycle scene where like you're watching, I want to say it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, riding a motorcycle for like a mile or like 1.5 miles. And it's in a dolly shot, meaning that the camera is riding alongside him on a dolly.
Oh my God.
That means they built that.
Yeah.
They built that shot. And you watch it, and like there is something exhilarating about it because you've never seen it in a movie before.
Right.
Because nobody would ever do that.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I'd like to switch gears if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I have one last question. Do you think that do you think that P.T. Anderson should continue to make these movies that are sort of chasing his singular vision? Are they still relevant to you?
He did Mother, right?
He did not do Mother. That's Aronofsky.
That's Aronofsky. Okay, that's a whole other story.
Swaim really likes Mother.
Really?
You and Swaim should have a talk about that movie.
We should, because there are things that the thing that I most dislike about it is what Darren Aronofsky has said about his own movie, which almost ruined it for me.
He's interesting because he's really interested in the Bible right now.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
I know.
Because like he's not a faithful person.
No.
So I don't know why he's so interested in it.
I don't know either.
I do like his adaptations. I think they're really interesting.
Yeah.
Like the Noah adaptation.
And I never saw it.
It was really interesting. It's not good, but it's really interesting because it's faithful to the text. So no, you say weird. Nobody has read that text except for like, not nobody.
yeah,
Most people have not read it. So there's things in that text that are weird.
Well, the
and
measurements.
He put all the weird things in it. Like there's a thing called Nephilim that's in the Bible text. Go read it. And like the Bible text just says, and in those days the Nephilim were on the earth. So like in this Noah movie, there's these weird rock monsters. Because that's what he interpreted the Nephilim to be. And everyone's like, what is this garbage you're making up? And he's like, no, it's in the text. And it is.
Weird.
You're like, what?
Weird.
I love it. I'm weighing in on that. I think that's great. I'm super in on that. I love it. It's so dumb. Aronofsky's not as... Aronofsky doesn't have the compassion that P.T. Anderson has.
Thing. And it's also like, so the Phantom Thread was probably like the last one that I saw that he did.
I think it's the last one he did.
Yeah. And it was just like, dude... I don't know. To me, I just get disinterested when I feel like the directors aren't,
He was also DPing that movie.
Oh, really?
I think that's part of why. And it makes sense because, of course, it's the story of a person who's a craftsman.
Right.
That's when movies start to get boring, is when like the director only has their own story to tell.
Yeah.
And it's like especially when they're successful.
Right, because
that's not a life anybody can relate to.
Right,
like being a bazillionaire and an artist for money and being applauded for everything you make is a thing 10 people live through every year. Like maybe.
Yeah.
So like, don't make that movie.
Yeah.
Nobody can relate to that.
Right, and then to me, it's like me being like, wow, you didn't know that you maybe shouldn't have made that movie.
You can't know that anymore.
Man.
There is that point for all these artists where like they just can't know anymore.
Yeah.
Like I mean, as we see in every field, success just warps the ability to connect to what people feel.
Yeah, that's true.
It just does. Those new Star Wars from Lucas are the best example ever, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, like you don't even know what you did.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you made.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've taken up plenty of time on this. I'd like to go thank a few more producers, wouldn't you?
Let's do it.
I'd love to do that.
Let's do it.
I'd love to do that. So thank you to Jessica M.
Jessica M.
Don't you think of her as like a spy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Totally spies.
She could be like a young adult spy.
Absolutely.
Like Spy Kids, but like PG-13.
PG-13.
Right? So there's makeouts and stuff,
And she can say shit, not shiitake mushrooms. Remember that joke from Spy Kids?
Wow.
Wow,
indeed.
Wow, indeed.
Would you like to thank the next person?
Absolutely. Bob Grenville.
Bob Grenville, who, by the way, as you remember, wished you hello last night from my stream.
Aw,
Yeah.
thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Well, great.
That's right, yeah. Peter Jones? Sure. Seems like a great guy.
Seems like maybe a singer. I don't know.
Sure.
Mr. Jones.
Oh, like a crooner?
Yeah.
We don't have any
Peter
crooners anymore.
Jones. We don't have crooners.
We need another Waits. We need to clone Waits.
I feel like I think like for younger women, like Shawn Mendes is like the modern crooner.
Is James Blake a crooner to you?
What is he saying?
He does all that like weird like sparse like it's not dubstep, but it's like electronic sort of melody stuff. The most famous song I can think of is like that one that was in The Leftovers. Right, that one.
Okay,
You know, like he's got that haunting thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I guess they
Is
all
he a
kind of
crooner?
sound the same.
Okay, Tom Waits belongs on the clone list. I think that's, by the way, that's the thing I'm going to bring back up again because so does Fauci. Fauci and Tom Waits. Every generation deserves a Tom Waits and a Fauci.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Just point that out. Let's continue.
Let's continue. Who next? Ben. Good old Ben.
Sure.
Ben.
Yeah.
The name of my...
I think he's good at curling. Like he's good at the Olympic event curling.
Yeah, like you used to do hockey, but it was too bad on your joints. So you're like, I'll try curling, and you were just great at it.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Although, how many people are playing that?
Curling?
Yeah. How many people are doing that?
Probably not. I think it's popular in Canada, yeah? I think it's a Canadian.
You could tell me it's anywhere with ice, and I'd believe it. Can I just, one sacrilegious idea?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the only reason it's an Olympic sport is because no one's doing it. Like, is there a LeBron James curling? Maybe there is.
Maybe there is.
I don't know this person.
Because someone let us, if anyone knows the world of curling.
If anyone knows the LeBron James of curling,
Yeah.
please send them our podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, we like you.
We'll send them some flowers if we get their name. Be like,
Okay, you're on the hook for that now.
okay, I'll do it. Someone tell me who the top curling person is.
And Maggie will buy that human flowers.
Flower.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being good at it.
Congratulations on your curling.
Yeah.
Here is flowers.
Here's Flower.
Great. Here's flower. Joel Harper.
Joel Harper.
We told many stories about Joel Harper.
Yeah.
And most of them involve beer, as I recall.
I do. Yes, because
Yeah.
yes.
You ever think maybe he just like tunes pianos?
I was gonna say like a traveling minstrel
Yeah.
who sings at bars.
Oh.
You know, he'll
A
come
lost
into a
art?
bar. Yeah,
Trying to bring that back.
Oh man, once COVID's over, I would love to bring back the traveling bard.
Well,
Tell
people
me
used
a
to get their
story.
news that way. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Joel Harper's just like, let me tell you the story of Biden. It's like, right? I'm gonna sing you the news.
Mom.
And Mitch McConnell did not agree.
I love that. I would love that.
What a great idea, Joel. You're a great guy.
You're a great
I really
guy.
like it. Speaking of music, here's your favorite guy, Zach Gibson. Maggie loves this. Maggie loves you, Zach Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garrett Cooper,
Garrett Cooper.
aka Asking Seven. What a hero.
What a hero.
Hero for all of us.
Yes. Thank you so much for saving our democracy, Garrett Cooper.
Yes, thank you. Benjamin Egan.
Egan.
That guy runs like an oil company or something, right?
Yeah. Or he like raised dragons.
Oh, we went in very different directions.
I was like, or owns a gas station while raising dragons.
I didn't say gas station. I said an oil company. But
All right.
he works at an Exxon.
Similar thing.
He works at a mobile gas station and he raises a dragon in his free time.
Yeah.
A cool guy this guy is.
He's a cool guy.
Okay, I like Pie Guy.
Pie
I
Guy.
like 3.14. What a wonderful person.
A couple days ago, I had a very wonderful lemon meringue pie.
Ooh.
It was delicious.
Oh.
I love it.
Didn't you one time you promised me like some weird kind of cookie that I never got?
Probably.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well, I didn't have my oven was broken for a long time, but we just got a new oven.
So cookies are incoming.
Cookies are incoming.
Get that mouth open. Cookies are flying in. Gage Jennings.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me gauge
Sure.
your.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
You get
Great.
it.
I thought he was like a video game character. I immediately thought Gage Jennings is
Okay.
like he's like in Final Fight 8 or whatever.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm picturing his little avatar like
Oh, yeah.
turning, and I'm
Yeah.
putting on little skimpy clothes on him.
Do you always strip your avatars down to
I dress
near
the
nudity?
men in bikinis
Sure.
as close as I can get. The women, I let them wear whatever they want.
I understand why.
So
I understand.
Just my own little.
Your own little rebellion against patriarchy.
Like, haha.
Also, your own little lust quest, right? Like later on, you're like, yeah, it's pretty good, like that.
I like watching abs.
I've heard of abs.
Yeah,
I've heard about them.
Never seen them, but
Never seen them.
never seen them.
They're a myth to me. Kyle Schroetel. God, what a great name.
Beep, beep, beep.
Kyle Schroetel. You couldn't even put that name in a screenplay.
No, they'd be like, what the fuck?
They'd be like,
Change this,
okay,
please.
make it a real name, bro.
Yeah.
That's
is
a crazy name. Yeah, Kyle Schroetel.
Sorry,
He's
Kyle.
with his friend Matt Batman.
Matt Batman.
Okay. Tony Fahey, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, Tony.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I think he makes glass.
Yeah.
He's a glass maker.
I was gonna say in an artistic sense or like an industrial sense.
Oh no, I like glass like vases. Like he's like burning glass. You
okay,
know?
yeah.
She got really bummed by the idea of industrial glass.
Industrial
That sounds horrible.
Does he make windows? Sad.
Sad. That's gonna get funny again when Trump's out of office. The word "sad" in a tweet is gonna get real funny.
Oh yeah,
That's gonna get very funny.
sad.
Also, you know what else is coming back? Charles in Charge theme song coming back.
Yeah.
We can't sing it without guilt now because it's Scott Baio. But once Trump's out of the office, new boy is in the neighborhood.
New boy.
Daniel Christensen
Daniel Christensen.
seems like a decent person.
You're like a fellow that my grandma would be like, have you talked to Daniel Christensen in a while?
Oh,
And I'd be
like-
like, Grandma, do you...
Like she's setting you up with Daniel Christensen.
Yeah, and it's like I've been with the same person for 5 years.
So this is your grandma's betrothed for you.
Yes,
That's who Daniel Christensen is.
Yeah. So
I
sorry,
believe that.
Daniel.
And this is in between her making you Mickey Mouse shit ice cream and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Care Bear.
Carrie Lewis.
AKA Care Bear.
AKA Care Bear.
AKA Sheriff.
Aw.
AKA Carrie Noir.
Oh,
AKA
great.
Buddies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Carrie.
Yeah.
Hey.
Real buddy.
Welcome.
Yep, welcome. Adamantanium Jello.
Yeah. It's like Jell-O that definitely has some secret government shit in it.
Like adamantium.
Yeah,
like metal.
you know.
It's like Jello, but it's metal. And he's like, that's true. And we're like, yeah, we saw. Thanks.
We know, thank
Thanks
you.
for being a boss.
Metal
Doc Garby. Look at this sweet guy.
Doc Garby.
Doc Garby, by the way, makes fan art. So look out.
Oh.
Look out. He's gonna cartoonify you any minute now.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, you've probably been cartoonified before.
Probably.
And also our friend John Ford,
John Ford.
the resurrected director.
Ah.
Director of The Searchers.
Oh,
Great movie.
All right.
Director of, I believe, High Noon. I think he directed
Okay.
High Noon.
All right.
That movie is amazing.
Wow.
High Noon, fucking awesome. I think it's Stagecoach. John Ford used to, this is an amazing story, briefly. John Ford used to get told by the studio, hey, why don't you add like mediums and close-ups and stuff? He's like, sounds good. And then he would like roll it and he'd put his hat in front of the camera because he didn't want those shots in his movie.
Oh, whoa.
So he'd
That's
only deliver.
baller.
He would only deliver to the editor what he wanted in the movie.
That's pretty brilliant.
That's fucking amazing.
That's
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
super good.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, we don't want to miss this person. Michael J. Hudson.
Michael J. Hudson.
A late ad, but we still love you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining the party.
Welcome to the team.
Woo, party.
Okay,
Woo.
Maggie, we're going way long right now.
Oh, are we all right? Wee.
We're sailing into the hour mark right now, and you haven't even started
wonderful.
here. But I want to give this movie as much time as I possibly can. Please tell us what movie you selected, Maggie Mayfish.
So I selected the gem, and I call it a gem because, again, upon rewatch, it almost gets more and more polished. The more you look into the eyes of Jennifer's body. Brum, brum, brum.
Jennifer's body.
Jennifer's body.
Jennifer, please give us a summary of Jennifer's body.
Oh man, okay, so Jennifer's Body is a story of two like high school best friends, the hot, the stereotypical hot girl. What?
One of them is extraordinarily hot. That
Megan
matters.
Fox.
Yeah, yes, Megan Fox.
Yes.
She's extraordinarily hot.
Yes.
That matters. Okay,
yes.
keep going.
She's the hottest girl. And her best friend, who is like, more of a nerdy type.
Nerdy. Putting that in quotes.
Still played by Amanda Seyfried, so
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried, the nerd.
Yeah.
You know how you know? Glasses. Glasses and not the best hair.
Don't you get it?
Yeah.
Her hair is slightly frizzy, so that makes her uncool and
Amazing.
bad.
Amazing.
Yes. And so basically Jennifer gets taken over by a demon.
Yes, a demon, right?
Yeah, a demon that was summoned by a emo boy band.
It seems like they made a deal with the devil to get a hit song.
Yes.
And they were supposed to sacrifice a virgin for it.
Right.
But she wasn't a virgin.
She wasn't a virgin
So
because she's the hot girl in high school. Duh, she's not a virgin. Yeah.
Right. Well, right. So, apart from Megan Fox's morals, if it's just based on looks, no chance that one was a virgin.
No chance.
So then that makes her into a
succubus
demon. Yes, a succubus. Yeah.
A succubus demon. And so, like demons do, she starts killing people in the town.
She mostly brings men for sex and then kills them.
And then eats them. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
A concept we've seen in films a few times.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm doing the summary for you. I apologize.
No, this is
rude.
great.
Okay,
This is
so
great.
I think the thing that people will actually remember about this movie is that it's Diablo Cody's follow-up to Juno.
To Juno.
This is her second script out of the box.
Yep.
Now, I did check. She is still working.
She is, yeah.
She's working on TV a lot now. Okay. So, Maggie, please, the floor is yours to talk about Jennifer's body.
So there's a lot of things that this movie discusses that are so I feel like so rarely discussed. And it's especially the in love with your best high school friend when you are in like different social
So this is
tiers.
a thing. In like
Yes.
what the central conflict of Amanda and Megan Fox kind of being lovers.
Yes, being lovers, but not be Amanda having a boyfriend, but them having like romantic feelings
Yeah.
for each other is I think that is so common in
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Which is
That's surprising to me.
yeah, which I think, and again, that's the thing on the rewatch that I love more and more, and especially for like queer women, that it's such a trope of like accidentally falling in love with your,
Yes,
like
that I've heard.
Yes,
It didn't feel like it was trying to make a story about that though, right? It just felt like it was part of the story.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has elements like that, where it's like, sure, yeah, like the main story is about Megan Fox eating men, which on
Actually,
itself is funny, but
No, maybe it is about that now that I think about it. Like,
yeah,
maybe it is. You're right.
It is because all of the conflict arises not just from Jenna or Megan Fox like eating men. It's the fact that she keeps choosing to be around men, and like being
True.
the queer friend of like the woman that you're in love with. Like she couldn't have been having sex with men. She must have been killing this. She must have been, taken over by a demon. Like, how could she, be with all these other people?
So you're retconning this.
Yeah.
Oh.
But also,
Are
Diablo,
we supposed to retcon this in your mind?
I think that is now when people watch it, most of the women who love it are queer women who
Do a reread of it.
Yes, but also Diablo
Interesting.
Cody, a lot of her work does deal with queer themes. So it's like, it's unspoken, but like definitely text of the film.
It is. You're right. It's not. I don't think that's a big abstraction.
Right.
I think that it might make the film make more sense, actually.
Yeah. So I think, and again, a lot of the rewatches of it, because the thing is, when it first came out, people did not like it. And part of that, but there are many reasons why.
Yeah.
Part of it is.
I know exactly why.
Yeah. The tone is. It's an interesting tone because it's both campy, but when they kill people, they give like emotional beats in a way that camp doesn't often do.
Yeah, it's not melodrama.
Right,
Like most campy
right.
stuff is melodrama.
Yeah.
And like silly.
Yeah.
This is not that.
This is not that. Yeah. But there are moments where it's like I'm laughing while like the mother of the person who was just eaten is crying. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very like, it's an interesting tone, which was not clear from the advertising. That was also
You could never advertise this as what it is. You could not do it.
That was a huge part of it, especially with Megan Fox being the main character.
My God, yeah.
And all the promos showed like Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried in bed together. When it's like
Right.
it's not about that. That's actually
I think it's not about sex at all. I mean, certainly. Okay, I'm going to have to be a little bit of a shitty guy to do this podcast, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So Megan Fox is unbelievably hot.
Unbelievably hot.
Like there's many attractive women and men in film. Megan Fox is a cut above that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
She's almost cartoonish in how attractive she is.
Yeah, she just has all the things.
Yeah.
And like I don't even remember when I first saw. It might have been Transformers, which is kind of a bummer because she was a kid then. But like. She's become sort of a meme, obviously. This is a pretty good outing for her, actually.
Love her in
Right?
this movie. I love her.
I do too. I liked her in it too.
Yeah, she like simultaneously is that while also like commenting on that in a way.
Yeah, see, I'm okay. Like, this is the part that maybe is regressive, maybe it's not. So like, everybody sort of praises Megan Fox when she plays a role that is a commentary on what she is.
Right.
Like in the same way that like Denzel won the Academy Award for playing the bad guy, right? Like playing against the type that he is. And I feel like Megan Fox gets applauded for playing against the type or like playing like a wink about the type.
Right.
But I also think there's something about just being that type that is a challenging thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think she's kind of good at it.
She is, yes.
Like
yeah.
this movie is between being a parody and her just being the real McCoy. Whereas like she was on New Girl, right? Did you?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
She was amazing on New Girl.
Yeah.
Because she was playing purely a commentary on her type. But like, and nobody's gonna join me in this call, but I'm gonna. But like, and I've been talking to Cody about this for a character we've been writing. But like, there is something about a hot girl owning that and just being that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is what I am, you know, like, and not that that's not necessarily a reduction.
Right.
It's just like when you're a brainy guy, right? And I'm not contrasting it. I'm just like, when you're a brainy guy, you lean into that identity, right? Like you lean way into that. You define your whole life by that, and you sort of collect a thing that makes everyone know that. There's something about that type that is a real thing that we're all sort of uncomfortable with now, and I think it's okay that she's this hot girl, and like it would be okay for her to play that and be that.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I absolutely. The thing that I think that adds to this character is again the like gay undertext, because the hot girl is simultaneously playing into but that's the other thing, is most hot girls are self-aware that they are that.
Of course. How can you not be?
Right,
Your whole life is an interesting contrast is the movie Easy A. Like, so Easy A is like the story of a person who's not really that type, sort of being thrown into that type,
Right.
because she lies about her sexual activity in high school. That, and it's Emma Stone, so that's a very interesting contrast. Are you offended by what I'm saying right now? I hope not.
No, not at all.
I just think Megan Fox occupies this place that, like, you know, Pam Anderson occupied, or like where it's like, what can they do? They can't escape it. And playing against the type is actually more reductive in some way. You know what I mean? Like, she's forced to sort of be like, I know, you know, like she's sort of forced to do that. Not in this movie, but in general.
Yeah. I don't know if she's forced so much as
in terms of getting applause from the audience, right?
Oh, sure.
That is forcing, right?
Right,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to like lament for hot girls. I'm just saying, like,
oh yeah.
she does pose a weird problem for a movie, because like, what are you gonna do? She's not an incredible actress, but she's not a bad actor.
Right, yeah.
And you cannot put glasses on Megan Fox and tell me and make her the nerd friend.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. I'm sorry, I'm talking. You should be talking about something.
No, that's yeah. Well, and also I think part of that is Megan Fox herself often speaks against those types of stereotyping in those roles. So it's like,
right. Yeah. What is she even? Yeah, I don't even know. I feel bad for her in some ways. Because what can she do? Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was that whole thing of how, you know, she very publicly said how terrible working with Michael Bay was, and everyone laughed at her for years and didn't take her seriously. And now she's like, yeah, I tried to tell all of you, and none of you listened to me.
Yeah. Remember that butt shot when I was underage in Transformers?
Yeah. And she's so, you know, open about how hurt she was by everyone's response to that, which was to laugh. So, you know.
And nobody has any sympathy for her because she has the kind of good looks that we're all just sort of like.
Right. Like, how can you feel anything? And it's like,
it's like, but she kind
person.
of, she kind of is in like a weird prison where it's like, what can she do? I don't know. I imagine Grace Kelly had the same problem, right? Like, there's these people that have floated through cinema that are like, they're really more like figures than they are actors, you know? And I feel like Megan Fox, this is a role about that, right?
Yeah. In a lot of ways. I mean, but again, like, I think that this movie, it does that with almost every character, though. Like, the hot singer guy is also dumb and trying to resurrect, you know, like got the he's like, and the fact that all like the boy band guys are just kind of like pussies in a way.
Oh, they were horrible.
Yeah, and it's so and like Megan Seyfried, sure, being the nerd, but like having a boyfriend and like and ended up not exactly being that type.
I couldn't. Okay, so there's so many little things. God, I want to talk about. I kind of wish we could talk for an hour and a half about this movie. Maybe we will. I don't care. You're gonna get as long an episode as you get.
There we go.
So okay, I want to. I gotta start with Megan Fox. I just want to finish the Megan Fox chat first. Okay, so she's good in this movie. Her character. Do you think her character is sympathetic?
Yes and no, which is also what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Like at time, like she's a hot girl, which I think a lot of us knew or were familiar with people like that in high school. So like a lot of her being like mean throughout a lot of. She's very like abrasive and mean, but in a way that is like very understandable, and because we're looking at it from Amanda Seyfried's point of view.
That's true.
Where it's like she loves her, she's her best friend. So
that rounds out the picture.
Yeah, that kind of rounds it out. And like thinking back to like when I was that age, like I had friends like Megan Fox who like. Were just like
they just had that thing.
Just had that thing, and especially like a lot of women just learn to be that way because it's like, well, everything I do is wrong, so I'm just gonna fuck it and do this.
Yeah.
So a lot of her character rang true. So yeah, I guess like sympathy wise, I wasn't really concerned either way. More that her character rang true for me of someone who, is that type of person.
So my concern so far in what you've said is how much of it you're supplying to this movie. Like not that I think it's bad.
Right.
My concern is like that, not concern like this problem. Concern like this is why I feel like it's harder for everyone else to arrive where you are about this movie because you're supplying these like inside understandings of things. All of them I'm learning.
No. I guess I'm only doing that because we're trying to make this like a
100%,
personal.
100%.
Yeah.
So, like, and the reason I'm pointing that out is that like. Well, fuck, I really do like your version of it. It's kind of like I like Cody's version of Lost, but I don't like Lost.
Right.
I did not like this movie, but I like your version of it a lot. I don't. So I watched her and I felt a little bad for her because I thought it wasn't a good role, although I thought she was good in it. Because it was like, why is she killing these guys? Why is she even doing that?
To eat their blood.
Right.
Eat them.
It's for funsies, right?
Yeah.
It's all for funsies. So but the problem, it's like she's playing the succubus character, but they don't do any of the work that's like, here's all the men just horn dogging after her. And like, that's sort of said, but never shown.
Right. But I guess as a female viewer, I don't need to see that. And I don't want that in my movie. Like, I'm not here to watch.
I don't want to watch that either, but I do want to have a reason to want the guys to die in the movie. Not just like men do this, but just like they need to have shown us this guy did that in the movie. At least something like just the basic moral mechanics. Not because not because I couldn't imagine that they did it.
Right.
But because otherwise the murder doesn't have the same feeling. Like there's no fun justice to it. There isn't really.
Right.
And that robs it of being playful. Like I wanted this to be more playful than it was. I felt like the person who knew what this movie was better than anybody else was. I mean, I think Megan Fox knew, but also I think the lead singer of the band totally knew what movie he was in.
Yeah,
he got this movie.
Yes, I think what you're getting to is that I really do not like Amanda Seyfried in her role, and I think that's kind of a problem with the
Is it
film.
Amanda Seyfried that's the problem?
I think that more than Megan Fox, more than.
But I have a writing problem with this, which is like I'm trying to like. So okay, let me use a different movie that's an example. So there's a movie called Under the Skin. Have you seen that movie with Scarlett Johansson?
I don't think so.
Bro, we'll check that one out.
All right.
So or Mysterious Skin, I can't remember.
Okay.
The premise is she's a weird alien. There's no explanation for where she comes from or why. She just drives around, picks up guys, brings them back to her lair, kills them. Like that's it. And it's all done in this very abstract way.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to describe everything about it because like, dude, and for some reason that movie it really works because you're watching the seduction of it in a way that you're like, she's also a bad guy. Like she's a straight up bad guy. This movie changed roles at the end.
Yeah.
Where like at the end, like Megan Fox dies in her bedroom.
Yeah.
The only time we're ever in her bedroom, the only time we meet her parents. Didn't even think she had parents, honestly. And so the movie sort of like kind of wanted me to pivot, and I was like, how can I pivot? And you are the one who provided me the explanation, which is why I'm like, see, you're providing this understanding of it that does make it make sense.
Yeah.
Right? If it's like, oh, it's only Amanda Seyfried's point of view, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
Sort of like American Psycho. If it's like that, it is a much better movie than it seems.
Yeah.
But that was not available to me as a watch, or I completely didn't see it. And that's weird. Maybe I just missed. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, and that's again, like I've seen it, a couple times at this point. And like I said, when I first watched it, I did not like it, and the tone was off-putting.
Do you think it's that you didn't get it, and then you go back and watch it, and now you do?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, well, especially with like the queer reading of it,
That's the thing that makes it good.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work without that.
It doesn't. I feel like it doesn't work without that. But like watching it through that lens, it makes so many things make sense. It's like, no. But also now when I watch it, like it just feels so clear. Like even the way that Amanda talks about Megan Fox, like
True.
That is how someone talks of, and the way she ignores her boyfriend, the way she's obsessed with Megan. It's like you're in love with her, and like
that's correct.
Yeah.
It makes things hang together that didn't before. So like it for instance, it solves my biggest problem, which is like, well, then all these, like a lot of these guys just seem like kind of nice guys.
Yeah.
And she's just killing them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, that's okay for jokes. Like, and I know guys do things. I get that. But like, don't ask me to think that's fun, because it isn't that fun.
It is though.
It's
and
fun with this reading.
Well, no. That's the other thing, is that it is fun, because how often do women just get to kill guys for? There always has to be a reason. I think that's actually why the more I watch it, the more I like it.
Because she's a serial killer?
The thing that you're like looking for, I don't think belongs in this movie. Like I don't think it belongs.
You mean
in
just
this
the
world.
justification?
Yeah.
Well, but I think that's like the premise, right? The premise is that she's getting revenge on all these guys who've made her life a living hell. Isn't that like supposed to be the premise?
I don't really think it's a revenge for Megan Fox.
I think it is, right? It's like all these guys who have been hitting on her, and like she's gonna go back and like, I think that's the premise. Well, like if you like, I'm gonna look up the IMDb. I feel like that's the fucking premise.
I'm sure that's like part of the premise, but I guess
but that part didn't happen in the movie, is what I'm saying.
Right.
The premise didn't happen in the movie.
Right.
That's where I'm like, well, I don't understand. But you've made it make sense with this queer reading that makes it much better. But maybe they couldn't market it under that. I don't know. So I'm conflicted. See, because like, let's reverse this to the old way movies were. There's tons of movies where like, men kill women in movies, and that just happens. But like, it's never like a good thing or like a fun thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of what movie that, other than like some Tarantino thing, Send Up, right? But even then he does the justice work, like the basic emotional justice work. Right? What movie are you thinking of?
I think well, that's the other thing, is like of film, like filmatic history, just the amount of stories of men killing women is overrepresented. It's oversaturated.
I totally agree with that.
Almost about what every movie's about. So to have it flipped, and to also not give you the justification, and also for them to just be kind of normal guys, I think is all
that part's all good.
Yeah.
The justification's the thing that makes it not a reversal. You know what I mean? Like and the reversal is the thing that you're celebrating, but like the justification's the thing that hangs it together. And like, isn't it fun to see it on this end now, instead of a serial killer? Now it's like a person who's taking revenge, like, and that part's not there.
I guess maybe. Well, I watched this like during Halloween, so maybe I'm not exactly remembering details, but
I'm looking up the IMDb now to see if I'm wrong about this.
No, it might be.
A newly possessed high school cheerleader turns into a succubus who specializes in killing her male classmates. So I guess it is a little vague about whether or not they deserved it.
But also, I will say the thing that I guess instead of revenge, I think what it focuses on is the like the grieving parent, how after everyone is killed, you get actual sadness and actual reactions from people's families, which to me, I think supplemented like my viewing experience. Like I guess I wasn't left wanting anything, because for me it was like I felt satisfied with like seeing the real and actual pain that like the parents felt.
Oh yeah, It's I don't watch a movie and think this is not fair. It's not that. It's that like, how do I describe it? This is just like kind of a weird emotion math that I'm not describing very well. But like for me to get the feeling of enjoying what she's doing, I have to have the narrative premise piece of like, these guys all earned it by virtue of this one behavior that's signified in some way.
I guess I
because
just don't
otherwise
need
it's
it.
like, oh, so she just is killing people, and it's like, that's okay. I just don't enjoy it as much as like the revenge story version of it, right? Which is I think what they were trying to do. That's why it feels convoluted to me.
But the thing is that, again, like as a female viewer, to get the revenge part, you at first need to see men doing something at least slightly bad, which I just don't. I'm so sick and tired of seeing. I'm so tired. I'm glad they didn't feel like they needed to include it or justify it, because it's like I've seen that 5 million times, and I don't.
You've seen the revenge story.
Yeah,
I agree
and
with
it's
that.
like I don't really. I kind of don't care why Megan Fox feels justified in killing them.
Does it matter to you why anybody kills anybody in a movie?
Sometimes, but I guess not in a like campy horror film that to me is more about the female relationship. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like that feels so secondary to what concerns me in this film that I don't feel like I need. And I think if that was part of it, I wouldn't like it as much.
Well, because that would dash that queer theory idea to the ground, right? Or it would undermine that. It would make the queer love story piece feel like it was secondary to a revenge thing.
Right. And it's like,
I get, yeah.
And I don't need, and it's like, and again, like part of the fun of it is that, it's everyone's worst nightmare, like the hot girl getting infinite powers, that's like such an existential dread in itself that, I don't think she is justifying her revenge, and I really don't need the movie to justify.
No, she's a vampire.
Yeah.
Well, I do for the ending. That's the thing. That's why I think people are like, why people have such a hot and cold reaction to this. I have no problem with female serial killer that's not motivated by revenge. No problem with that. I love that idea. Great. But killing, like the end of the movie suggested this kind of like undercurrent of hurt that had been there the whole time that hadn't been flushed out in a way I understood. You know what I mean? Because like ultimately at the end, the way it plays out is that she goes after Amanda Seyfried's boyfriend, right? Who is, I think, objectively just a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Like a sweet dope. And that fits right into your reading, which the more I think about it, the more I like it. And so she goes to date murder him, and he's real bummed out because Amanda Seyfried freaked out about her.
Yeah.
And so Amanda Seyfried shows up at some place and like injures Megan Fox. Her boyfriend dies saving her.
Yeah.
That's fun. And then we have this next scene that's basically like the catharsis of the movie, where Megan Fox's character in her home sort of reveals all this vulnerability that has not been in this movie so far, like really. And that's like this connecting point with her and Amanda Seyfried, who kills her anyway. And then Amanda Seyfried inherits some of her weird powers because of it, which I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
I don't hate Amanda Seyfried. I don't think she's like a...
Yeah, I guess just for this particular role, I felt like some of her performance sometimes I felt like it was
she's
not
limited.
Connecting. Yeah,
she's limited. You can't use her for everything. But I think Megan Fox is less limited in some ways. I think she's more stereotyped, but less limited as an actor. Yeah, maybe I'm just saying like I needed these like little clarity pieces to snap into place to feel good about the ending. Like they didn't really. I wish they did because I like your idea of this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back and watch the damn movie again. I might watch it again.
Maybe. I guess for me, the ending didn't throw me off because throughout it, all the like, you know, a lot of times someone will die in a movie and it'll be like, whatever. But this time it treated death very like important every time. Like every kill that would happen, even if it was like whateverly motivated, it would, you know, it would be people like crying in the schools and stuff. And like,
right. Why doesn't she kill the band?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird that she didn't kill. But
It's like, now that I'm thinking about out loud, this movie intentionally sidestepped all the revenge steps.
yeah.
It did do that.
Yeah.
Which is why I was frustrated with it. Because it was like, well, now I know what this story is, and then I don't. Maybe you're right. Maybe everyone missed what this movie is.
The more I watch it, and again, like I said, I'm definitely not the only person who reads it. There is like there's like a lot of women have since, you know, come to love this movie as a, you know, yeah.
Wow, I'm really now I want to watch it again, damn it. Wow. I didn't think it was horrible. I just thought it was like really unclear and just sort of clumsy.
It is clumsy. And I do think Diablo does have that with her, where sometimes her work is like clumsy in some way, which, you know, sometimes like works to her benefit, sometimes it gets in the way. But again, also knowing that she does often write about queerness and like queer concepts, so, you know, inviting that reading is definitely not unwelcomed. And I do think it kind of makes, you know, kind of weaves the fabric of like, oh, okay, all right, okay.
That maybe it does help to have some context for her. I do like the movie better as a sort of undercurrent love story that never comes totally to the forefront, because that also made the makeout stuff better.
Yeah,
because it's not that I had a problem with it. It was more that it was like, so I don't understand. Do they love each other or not? What's the thing?
Right, because without that reading, it does feel like they're just doing that because it's two hot actors that they casted.
Yes, that was the problem with the movie.
And it feels so empty. Yes, and it's like, why are they doing this?
Yes, but the whole thing felt empty because of this.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's like, oh no, like. And again, like watching the way that Amanda like looks at Megan the whole movie, talks about Megan the whole movie, the way she's obsessed with who the men that Megan is with. It's like,
she doesn't like that Megan's with anybody because Megan is too deadly. But then also you're right. It is
girl,
there.
No, you
it's
just
all there.
wanna be with her.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes that sex scene add up a little better too, because the sex scene was weird. With her and her boyfriend, it was like, I don't get like, why can't this?
Yes.
Why is this so weird?
Right, and the way she kind of like ignores her boyfriend throughout. Like we see them together, but we don't ever see them be very.
He's always trying to engage with her, and she kind of engages. But okay, so
but
sex
she's
scene,
obsessed with Megan. She keeps talking about Megan. All she'll talk to her boyfriend is about Megan. She keeps going with Megan instead of her boyfriend.
Yeah,
you know,
that is what this is about.
Yeah,
because like, so the sex scene with her boyfriend, I remember this. So like, he tells her what's going to happen, and she's sort of like almost more flattered than excited, right?
Yeah,
she's kind of flattered by it. They crawl into bed. They kind of have a clumsy condom moment, right?
Yeah.
And then like he gets into her and like starts doing it, and her mind goes to something that Megan is doing, which was very clumsy at the time. I was like, why the fuck? This is how that's gonna work? That's weird. But now that I'm thinking about it, why is this so not obvious?
I don't know. Well, what year did this come? Because part
2000
of 2000.
I mean, I had never seen it before this last week.
Oh,
ever. Never seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't do any research into it. I wanted to walk in clean. 2009. I'm looking.
All right.
I'm looking. It was. I want to say it was while I was in film school. 2009. Yeah, while I was in film school. I mean, it definitely feels dated in some ways.
Yeah.
Amanda Seyfried alone kind of puts it in an era, right? Because she was sort of in like 4 years in movies. Interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe, okay, so now let's step back. So do you think your reading is the intention, or do you think your reading is fixing the intention?
from everything that I've read, I do think it is the intention.
Okay.
And like part of it again was like marketing and timing, and I also don't know how much they like. I don't know if they thought they could make it text. Like I don't know, but.
In 2009, that would have probably been a pretty gutsy movie.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a teen horror movie,
right? And
that's
especially
not
with
a
2
lesbian
women,
movie,
yeah, it's
right.
not and
Right.
and I think part of it was like, let's really write them as frat, because I think if you almost, especially at that time, if you leaned too much into their lovers, then it will kind of just come off as, oh, we got 2 hot actors, and they,
It'll come off like a campy horror movie.
Right.
But she kind of wanted to do all the campy horror trappings for an actual love relationship.
Right, yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and also, and to add more to it, like that time, like when you're in high school at that time, you also can't come, you can't be like,
That's true.
I'm in love with the hottest girl in class.
Right.
Like you can't do that. You can't say that, especially if it's your friend. Like
you probably
you're kind
could
of
now, right?
Yeah,
but
now
in
you
that
could.
in that period of time, you
yeah,
couldn't.
but and that you couldn't do that. So again, like that kind of Amanda Seyfried's character, which I know a lot of women appreciate, is being that like kind of in that trap space of where you can't say how you feel. You might not even really know that you feel that way. You just do, and you're trying to justify it or excuse it or contextualize it in a way that makes sense. Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I do. I think you're right about
Yeah.
this movie. It does change basically everything I thought about it until now.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
why I
don't.
picked it
You,
for the
you really.
rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, great pick.
Yeah.
It does. That we don't need a justification for the murders if it's about their love story. We don't need that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out like what thing would help a dumb like me get this, like how to fix the movie so that it would
Yeah.
be clearer. I
Well,
mean,
and
it's
a
certainly
part of
clear
it
in
is-
hindsight.
Well, hindsight, but I do want to give credence to that Cody isn't always very, clear with her movies.
I don't think this is well made, even with
Yes,
your
agreed.
or written. I
Yes.
think I like what you've done here.
Yeah.
And I think I can buy that they intended it. It's not done well.
Yes.
Because they didn't want to actually tell the right story. They wanted to pretend to tell the right story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah.
And there's problems that hurt the movie that are just logic problems. Again, killing the band is a huge problem.
yeah.
Why don't we kill the band?
Yeah.
And I do think the emotional indifference gives us an unclear tone for a lot of the movie. And we need certain things to be grafted in a clear way to have the feelings that you're having or describing.
Yeah.
As this is just how movies work, like as
Yeah.
emotion machines. So like I don't care what the rules are, I just care that the experience is right. And it didn't quite I think it might be because they asked us to believe the premise on it, which was on its face impossible.
Right.
Which is like, and that by that I mean the nerd and the high school cheerleader have stayed friends since childhood. That's like, okay, so we're rejecting every high school movie ever to start the movie. So we didn't ask the question, well, why?
Right.
We never asked that question because they're like, this is the premise of the movie. It's like, okay.
Right. And the
I get it.
answer would be because they're in love,
Well,
but we don't get that
right.
answer. And the question is not even presented.
It would be like if you watch the movie Toy Story, right? And so like you start watching the movie Toy Story, and then at some point the movie's like, why are these toys talking? Should they be talking?
Should they be talking?
Are you sure they're really talking, or is Andy sick? You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's kind
yeah.
of what the movie's trying to do, but it never introduced that question. Really, it didn't, or not in a way. Not in a way I understood.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's less weird, and maybe it's like a younger trope of like, I guess that was more common for me to see, of like the hot girl being friends with her, like having a loser friend.
Well, yeah, you had your Kumbaya high school
Yeah,
that you love,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
like this movie
yeah.
hits you right in your life.
Yeah, it's weird.
It doesn't hit any Gen X adjacent
Yeah.
person like me.
Yeah.
Is gonna be like, I'm sorry. Where
I'm
are the
sorry.
Where are the nerds?
Yeah.
Where's the guy in flannel? What the fuck are we doing
Right.
here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Nobody's
I'm
playing
sorry.
football at all in this movie. I don't get where the fuck we are. Yeah, so and interestingly enough, this movie kind of perfectly articulates your experience in life.
In a weird way. In a weird way. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think you or I are more adept at picking stories that are our story and talking about them on this podcast?
I think we're both pretty good.
I think you're a lot better at it than I am.
Oh, really? You think so?
I do. This is a really interesting pick because it flew right over my head. But now I'm like, oh yeah, this is like exactly Maggie's life.
Yeah.
She picked this perfect movie. That's exactly her life.
And I think the second time I watched it, I had like heard the queer theory, but hadn't read a lot about it. But I had that framing. So the second time I watched it, I was like, and like, okay. And like so many things clicked into place that, from my personal experience, I was able to be like, oh, yeah. Okay.
I know people are going to send me tweets that I'm going to furiously block that are like, oh, they kissed, man. Like they're going to tell me this was more obvious than it was. I'm just telling you, man.
Sure.
And I'm an old guy. I'll admit it. I'm old enough to remember DX coming out from the Titantron. I remember that shit. All right. So like, it might be a little young for me, but like, I'm a pretty observant movie watcher, and this one flew right under my. I did not understand that was what the movie was about.
Right.
Because,
but also, they didn't say that was what it was about.
Well, they might have. Again, the making out, and also,
yeah,
they intentionally made Megan Fox's sexuality to be this sort of like she's like a meat grinder. She's just sort of like walking through everybody.
Yeah.
But she's looking for actual tenderness and intimacy with Amanda Seyfried's character.
Yeah.
And like, if I don't know, it's like in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, of course she loves Amanda Seyfried's character because like that's the only person she connects to.
Yeah, that's the only person she talks to, and it's like it's
a kind of informed point of view.
So
I've never been the person in life who like could walk in and been like, well, sex is meaningless to me. I'm looking for intimacy.
Right.
No, but sex is not meaningless to me. It's a thing I'm looking around for. So, it's not good.
My radars are up.
I'm aware of it. And it's on my menu.
Yeah. Anyway, people can order at any time. They just have to ask.
It's not the hidden menu either.
Right.
It's right there at the kiosk.
It's right there. It's always the featured item. Any time of the night, stop by. It's on special. And I'll give you a discount.
Yeah. So I don't relate to that point of view, but you might relate to that point of view a little bit, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You might relate
and
to it a little bit.
And to me, the like separation of her eating men is such like a physical, unsexy. She's covered in blood. It
was never sexy.
It's never
there was
sexy.
Never a sexy moment.
Yeah. The only time that anything sexy happens is like an emotional intimacy and Amanda Seyfried, Megan Fox being together type way.
What do you make of the vomiting thing that happens at the beginning of the movie when she first gets cursed? She like vomits all that weird black stuff.
Oh yeah.
What do you make of that?
Is that when she comes into her house at night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is very stalkery.
Yeah. To me, it was, like going to your girlfriend's house in the middle of the night.
It has that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, it has that vibe. And I can't tell you I love you, so I'm just gonna barf. And and it's the gross ickiness of like, we're friends, but I can't say that, like that kind of.
Or just sort of like, again, it's another intimacy call, right? Like other people get sexy Megan Fox. She gets the
animal, I just got bit, yeah.
She gets the like, here's the real flaws person. Wow, this is really much more clear now that you said this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes me like Diablo Cody more too, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I did not like the screenplay when I was watching it for the most part.
Yeah, and like I have my own like problems with her work, but like for that being said, like all the things that she put into it that lend itself to this reading is like pretty good, and also very like. It's also a thing that's very intimate between women. Like this type of situation only happens between women. This type of situation, and it's like, and again, that's why it's so rare to see because it's such like a specific situation between like two queer women and like.
Because this old bear was looking at it mystified me. I was looking at phantoms in the wind. Did I even see anything? I don't even know.
I guess I was there, but
I might not have been there. I don't even know. Wow. Fascinating.
But
great pick.
yeah,
Great
you
pick.
know,
You made me proud today.
Aw.
You really made me proud.
you know,
Yeah. What a great pick.
I love rewatching The Master.
You were excited about it.
I was excited. I was excited you picked this.
Did it drain you?
Not so much.
It's so good about rewatching that movie.
Yeah.
You're not drained the second time. You're just like, it's a
Yes.
little more like, ooh.
Yes.
You know.
Yep.
Also, I can't stress this enough. This is what makes P.T. Anderson such a great director. When he picked the flaw as alcoholism, he did the alcoholism so well that it never stops being upsetting.
Yes.
It remains upsetting no matter how many times you watch this movie. That's
it's so
tough
viscerally
to do.
effective.
Yes.
It's so effective.
Yes. What about that scene where he's like taking pictures?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
We're going on and on. Well, this has been a great podcast.
This is a great
Right?
podcast.
This has been a gem. It's been one of our gems.
A gem.
Okay, just briefly, don't you wish Megan Fox would have found some role somewhere where she
I do.
like?
I mean, after because especially like after like the Me Too thing, people were like justice for Megan Fox. She's been telling us forever about all the terrible things that she's experienced, and no one took her seriously because she was hot. And she does have some upcoming projects apparently that are with big directors and whatever. So
I actually think she's kind of good. I don't think she's like Emma Stone.
Yeah,
Emma
yes.
Stone is fantastic.
yes,
But also, again, a lot of things in life boil down to permission. You know, a lot of things do. And like Emma Stone has permission by virtue of typecasting to be a more rangy actor in some ways. Like we're willing to say, yeah, I believe that. Whereas Megan Fox shows up in The Favorite, it's like, no.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people be like,
all right.
absolutely not. Back in the
Right.
past, no, ma'am. Can't have it. And that's not a comment on her acting.
No.
It's a comment on her that like thing that men have for her. I guess women too. Like everyone has it for her.
And I think also, especially like for other queer women who like Megan Fox, it's partly because of this movie, where it's like all of her sexuality is pointed towards another woman in a way that is so rare. Like her being sexy in this movie is for women.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Now that I'm gonna have to watch the movie again. I'm definitely gonna have to watch it again because I feel like I might sense that more now.
Yeah.
You know, because it definitely didn't have the masculine appeals.
Yeah.
It pulled like there was no undressing. There was no like there was no like temptation to it. It was very matter of fact.
Right.
Which made it sort of like, I don't know if I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Like like I don't know if she's enjoying this. You
Right.
know? Right. It doesn't have the thing that The Skin I Live In or whatever. What's the name of that damn movie? Mysterious Skin. I want to say.
Skin.
It doesn't have that thing.
Yeah.
See, that thing that sort of like the raw seduction of it is like very effective for a thriller.
Right.
Because it's exactly what men are afraid of.
Yeah.
It's a perfect dude.
Yeah.
You want to see what men are afraid of? Watch that fucking movie.
I might fucking watch it
Dude,
tonight.
you should. Like
I
the way that
will.
she kills them, all I can say is it's a perfect subconscious tickle on the thing that men are scared of.
Ooh,
Perfect.
I love knowing what
Like
men
it's
are
not like
afraid
men are
of.
not afraid of violence and gore and strength. That's not
Right.
what we're afraid of. He picked a thing. That's all I'll say.
Oh, I love it.
That's all I'll say. It's also kind of a ballsy role for Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, we hope you've enjoyed
Yeah.
this episode of I'll Show You Mine If You Show Me Yours.
Yeah.
We'll be back, with a new prompt. Probably not the Pump Up playlist.
Probably not. But
Probably not.
we should just make
We're
that
gonna
our
do
next
it.
one. Yeah.
Maggie's being very sweet and caring about my feelings. Because you don't care that much about that one, do you?
I love that idea.
Okay.
We both love that.
We love
Next
it so
time
much.
we should do a double record. We'll do one that the listeners pick, but then
one
we'll
for
do
us.
fucking Pump Up playlist. Absolutely.
What would a podcast that was just for you and me? What would like nobody else even listens to it? It's just for you.
Well, that was almost basically the conceit of this podcast.
Yeah,
I was like,
basically,
what
right.
would we
Exactly.
talk about?
Exactly.
But, you know. we
Maggie
like to
sent me
appease
the
our
sweetest text. I want to end on this note.
Aw, did I?
She did. So like, I sent Maggie a text when the election was called, and I'm going to read this thing because it really like warmed my heart. It was very good. So I sent her a text. We did it, my Mags, and then she said some great things. And then I said, I think this next 4 years is going to be a big improvement. And then she texted me 3 celebrating emoji faces, and then so glad to have you as a friend, my friend, which was just like such a nice thing to send. It was just very sweet.
It's true.
Very sweet. I appreciated
It's
it.
true.
I know.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. You're the best, Mags.
You're the best.
To our patrons, you're the second best, but
Second
still
best.
pretty good.
You're not top banana, but you're part of the bunch.
Yeah, you're at least the skin.
You're at least the skin that we peel away slowly to eat your insides.
And discard.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you'd like to join under this tier, it is available on patreon.com/smallbeans. Mags, what else are you up to these days?
I mean, man, you can check me out on Twitter. I will still be funny, I promise, even though Trump is no longer our president.
I think it'll be more funny.
Oh, I absolutely
Yeah.
will. I hate when people are like, this can be good for comedians. I have, oh my God, no. Oh, I feel so much freer.
I had no joy in comedy, really, from
No
the
joy.
years 2016
No
to
joy.
now.
I'm sorry, all front-facing video comedians, but I just can't. Like, there's so many things I couldn't even laugh at because of just reality.
2017 at Cracked was one of the worst job experiences I ever had. Not even for interpersonal reasons, because it
Yeah.
was such a joyless chore to pivot away from just having a good time and making things that are fun to like, how can we trump this?
yeah.
What else can we trump about this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're going to see some amazing work from some amazing creatives in the upcoming years.
I think we're going to see a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
And a bunch of new people
Yeah.
who aren't suited to a politically divisive environment
Yeah.
like we've been in, which frankly I am super ready for.
I am so ready. Yeah.
So you're on the Twitter, you're making videos.
Twitter and YouTube. You guys should subscribe to my YouTube if you have not.
Well, I have 2 other podcasts on this network. If you're not familiar, they are One-Upsmanship and also Director Piece Theater with Mike and Abe, respectively. One of these days, maybe a movie. We'll see. Maybe a TV show. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe get some money. That'd be pretty chill. You know, I'll be having some chats. We'll be having a couple of chats.
Hey, that'd be
So,
nice.
that'd be pretty good.
You know.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
This has been a Small Beans endeavor. We're a bunch of pals who make podcasts, sketches, music, web series, and movies. The Beans always have new ideas percolating, so make sure to check us out at patreon.com/smallbeans. That's patreon.com/smallbeans, where you can browse all of our current and past content, see what we've got planned in the future, and learn how your support can help the small beans grow into huge, giant monster beans. If you enjoyed this content module, please like, rate, subscribe, or tell a friend about us. We love you.